Good morning. We'll try that again, make sure everyone's here. Good morning. Welcome. It is so amazing to see everybody's faces. We made it. All of us made it. And we fully appreciate you all being here with us this morning. My name is Jose Riola. I serve as the Outreach and Organizing Manager at E4FC. It is my great privilege to serve in that capacity. And I'm one of the many, many, many people that it took to put a conference like this on. So I definitely want to appreciate all the folks, and we'll have an opportunity to thank everyone who has been involved in putting all this together. I'm one of those folks. So I wanted to begin today by introducing the woman right next to me, and then we're going to open up the space. So to my left is Kathy Jin. She is co-founder and executive director of E4FC. I'll let her say hi.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
And it is absolutely incredible to me that we all were able to make it here in this moment. That regardless of where we came from, where our journey started, whether we knew it or not, all of our life journeys were paved in a way to get us all here in this moment together. It's absolutely incredible. The folks that woke up maybe much earlier than they ever thought they had to on a Saturday. The folks that had to drive much further than they thought they ever would so early on a Saturday. The folks that flew from all around the country to be here with us today. All the journeys, the collection of the paths and the struggles, all of it coming together right here in this room, all of us together, is absolutely miraculous to me. So the way we want to open up the space today is I want to share with you a tradition that we have at E4FC, something that we do before we do anything else. Before we have a staff meeting, before we check in, before we do anything. We take a moment. We take a moment of silence, and we do this for a lot of reasons. We take a moment of silence to appreciate the path that we've taken, to appreciate all the people who have sacrificed for us so that we can be here today. The people that are not present in this room, but that we carry in our hearts and in our spirits and in our souls. We take a moment for all the people that can't be here today, but that we carry. We take a moment to appreciate the hardships, all the moments when we thought we had nothing left and we kept going, discovering something new within us all. We take a moment to appreciate who we are and what we are, even if it's only for a moment, especially in our society where we're being pulled in so many directions. We have so many things, so many emails, so many texts, so many things to do every single day that if for once, even if it's just for a second, to take a moment could make all the difference in the day. To take a moment for the folks, again, that can't be here, that we carry in our hearts. To take a moment for the folks that can't be here because of our broken immigration system. To take a moment to appreciate and to honor the sacrifices of our families that crossed deserts, that crossed walls, that crossed most barriers that they faced. And that's what brought us here together in this space. To take a moment to honor the folks that are locked up in different detention centers throughout the country. The 1,000 people that are going to get deported by the end of the day. Take a moment for them. And take a moment to know that we are all here in this room because we want to make a fundamental change in our society. And what a phenomenal space it is to be surrounded by that type of energy. What an incredible day we're going to have to share together. When we take a moment to gather all the strength, energy, everything that we got so that today we can be fully present, we can give as much as we can be our best selves on this day. And that somehow we know that the world will be better as a result. I can almost guarantee it. So with me, we're going to count to 3. And bow your head or close your eyes, whatever you feel most comfortable with. And we're just going to take a moment to fully arrive in this space together. 1, 2, 3. and slowly come back. Thank you all so much for sharing in that moment with all of us. With that, welcome to the 2014 E4FC Educator Conference. Definitely want to give a special shout out before we begin to UC Berkeley for hosting us, to UC Berkeley's undocumented, to UC Berkeley's EOP and to UC Berkeley's undocumented student program who have been so fundamental in planning this entire event, have been walking with us as partners throughout the entire process. And I'm so excited that all of you get a chance to meet them today as they present and as they'll be around the space throughout. So with that, I will turn it over to our ED, Kathy.
Thank you, Jose. So I want to begin with a little show of hands. Who was at our last conference last year in 2013? Great. And who was at our conference in 2012? Also great. So I wanted to start with a little bit of history about how this conference got started. This conference was initially an idea about 2.5 years ago, an idea of our Educator Action Group. Can those of you who were at the dinner table, my dinner table, when this happened, stand up for a second? Nancy, Tony. So this was a meeting of our Educator Action Group around my dinner table, which is where, in those days, everything at E4FC happened. Every meeting, every gathering. And I remember that there was a fair amount of wine. And I remember that I couldn't drink any because I was about 5 or 6 months pregnant. And there was this idea, this would seem like a pretty simple idea, let's just have a conference. And I actually thought that was a pretty bad idea because we were planning it and I knew it was going to be about 3 weeks before I was going to give birth. But our Educator Action Committee, who's fearless, thought this would be relatively easy to pull off and that we should go forward with it. And we also had a fresh young college student, recent college graduate, who just joined us. We just pulled him off his couch and his TV. Jose had just joined us a couple months earlier, and we thought we could put him to task for some of this work. And so we decided to go forward. The main reason we decided to go forward is because we thought it was absolutely necessary. At this time, there were very few resources for undocumented students. It was very hard to find anything online. There was very few conversations about this work. And at that time, support for undocumented students really did operate like an underground railroad. The people who were supporting undocumented students were very passionate about it, but they weren't very public about it. They were afraid to talk about the work. They were afraid that if they talked about it, that they were going to be told to stop doing what they were doing. And they were also afraid for their students. They were afraid to put them in any sort of public light. And so we felt that it was very important to bring people together, to be able to have people see who was doing this work, for them to be able to share information with each other, and to be able to support each other. So it's still with that basic idea to be seen, to share, and to support one another that we are having this conference today. And I'm so proud of all the work that has gone into this from everyone in this room who has grown this conference. We started off in the first year in 2012 with about 350 people. Last year we had just over 500 people. And today we are expecting just under 680 people and over 300 institutions, educational institutions and organizations are represented. We'll be having 22 workshops led by over 50 different presenters. And it's an amazing day. So I'm so thrilled to be able to be here to share it with all of you. I want to move on to introducing Julio Navarrete. Julio, where are you? I hope you're here. Julio is going to be leading us off with a sharing of student stories. Julio is now a Spanish teacher at Summit Public Schools in San Jose. He is a graduate of San Jose State, also a graduate, received his master's from the National Hispanic University. When he graduated from college, he went on to work at Downtown College Prep. And then through a series of unforeseen situations, he had to leave Downtown College Prep and ended up with us for a few years. Julio was our creative writing manager, our creative expression manager, our creativity manager. We changed that position title a couple times for a couple years, and with great bittersweet emotions, he left us this summer to go back to teaching. And so I'm so excited. I never feel like he's really left our family, but I'm so excited to welcome him to the stage and to have us honored with his presence. So thank you, Julio.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are you? Good. So my name is Julio Navarrete. A little bit about the Creative Writing Program. This program started the summer of 2010 under the guidance of Monica Reagan. Students were able to create a safe and nurturing space to share our stories through creative writing. Since then, this program has expanded to a year-round program that includes summer creative writing workshops, storytelling retreats, an arts and creativity website, thingsillneversay.org, and a national contest. As Kathy mentioned, I joined E4FC in 2011. This was after losing my job as a high school Spanish teacher after the school found out about my immigration status. At E4FC, I found a very loving and nurturing community. I found a safe space to be able to share my story, to be able to come out as undocumented and unafraid, as queer and unashamed. Now that I'm back in the classroom, I know that the connections that I've made at E4FC are transcending all borders, and I feel so proud of all of the work that we've done in using storytelling and art as a way of reaching the hearts and minds of people all over the country. These accomplishments speak to E4FC's unyielding commitment to providing safe and intimate spaces for undocumented young people to process our stories, to grow and heal through our writing, and to share our work with broader audiences. With this in mind, a few students from last summer's creative writing program would like to share a piece of their story with you. Denia Perez is a pre-law and docu-diva with dreams of someday running for office. She's currently working at her dream job serving as E4FC's legal services coordinator and hopes to one day move on, but always stay connected to, she didn't say move on, I'm totally adding that, but she hopes to always stay connected to E4FC. But I know she's gonna go on to bigger and better things. When she's not working or she's not studying for the LSAT, she can be found training for a half marathon or spending time with her loved ones. The second presenter is Akiko Aspillaga. Akiko immigrated to the United States from the Philippines at the age of 10. Because of lack of resources and false information from her mother's employer, she fell out of status. Just last month, she graduated with a Bachelor's of Science in Nursing from San Francisco State University with honors. Outside of her academics, Akiko fights for immigrant rights with Aspire, the first Pan-Asian undocumented youth-led organization in the nation to raise the voices of API undocumented immigrants, to challenge the mainstream view of immigration, and to advocate for the passage of pro-immigrant policies. Our last presenter is Chantiri Ramirez. She was born in Querétaro, Mexico, and migrated to California also at the age of 10. Despite unfavorable odds, she received her bachelor's degree from this place, from UC Berkeley, in 2011. She's currently a doctorate student in Chicana and Chicano Studies at UCLA. She enjoys the creative and academic writing process and is a true believer in the power of words. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Denia, Akiko, and Chantiri.
Good morning, everyone. How are you all doing today? Ooh, it's still a little early, I know. I've been up for the last 3 hours, 4 now, too. Thank you so much for all being here. Like Julio said, my name is Denia Perez, and my piece is called Those Mexicans. No way. You can't be. But Denia, you're not like those Mexicans. I cocked my head sideways in response, and he smiled nervously. His hazel eyes searched for some sort of sign for me, either a nod or a laugh, that would let him know that I understood what he meant. He needed validation from the Mexican he had just tried to compliment, but perhaps had insulted instead. Those Mexicans. What he really meant was those illegals, those wetbacks, and those domestic workers. Oh, if he only knew. I was caught off guard. Which part of his statement bothered me most? Should I address it, or should I smile and pretend like I thought it was funny? I couldn't decide. It wasn't the first time that someone had questioned my ethnic identity, and it certainly wasn't the first time I had received this backhanded compliment. Suddenly, I remembered that he was still standing in front of me, waiting for my reaction. I half smiled. He breathed a sigh of relief and waved goodbye. As he turned slowly to walk away, I flailed my arms and shouted, "Wait!" My mind wandered back to my adolescence. I remembered how friends and acquaintances would react when they found out that I was Mexican. "But you speak English so well. You can't be Mexican. You're not like those Mexicans." Their friendly tone and grins would throw me off. Even though I knew that their flattery was sprinkled with prejudice, at ages 15, 16, and 17, I wasn't quite sure how to articulate my frustration with their comments. All I could muster in response was a nod or an insincere thank you. He stopped, turned his head, and waited for me to speak. This time, I was determined to respond differently. I could feel the sweat dripping down my upper lip and my intestines slowly wrapping themselves around my stomach. I opened my mouth and hoped that whatever came out would be enlightening and coherent. Just out of curiosity, what did you mean when you said those Mexicans? Because just so you know, if by those Mexicans, you're referring to hardworking, honest people who have sacrificed everything so that their children could have a chance at a more prosperous future, you're referring to my dad. You're referring to my mom, my aunts, my uncles, and my cousins. If by those Mexicans, you mean those undocumented people who pick your fruit, clean your house, watch your kids, and also happen to be your classmates, colleagues, and friends, I am one of those Mexicans. Oh, and just one more thing. The next time you want to make a presumptuous comment about someone's ethnic identity or race, don't. You never know what kind of Mexican you'll be insulting.
Hi everyone, good morning. How are you today? The piece that I'm going to share with you this morning is entitled, I Remember. Every time I remember, I try to forget. Because when I think of you, I bleed royal blue and scarlet red. Golden yellow sun with 8 rays, 3 golden yellow stars. 14 years stranded, I lost my way. Followed directions from the stars and stripes. So I started to forget about you. My Filipino tongue became an American one, to not have an accent in my English. But now a screech embeds itself in my Tagalog. Can't you hear? I am screaming out for you to fix me. Every time I remember, I try to forget the meaning and existence of dignity because they stole pieces of me with each caress of words targeting my fobby dress, my accent, my illegality. When I remember, I feel a knife cut me, working its way to my heart. Once shallow, 14 years of insults and shame made it impossible to reach out to you. Tago ng tago, they tell me to hide and become silent. Pushed me to the shadows because wala akong papeles, as if papers define me. I live. I dream, but I also dance. I fall, I bleed, but I also fight. I am the definition of human, and yet they covered their eyes, branded me as alien in this system of oppression. I am trapped in my own self-pity, doubt, uncertainty, afraid to become lifeless, buried in debt, fearful of the day ICE will detain and deport me, separate me from family, friends, strip me of my humanity. So, every time I remember, I try to forget. I desperately cling on mama and kuya, escape in anime, karaoke, and Kingdom Hearts, focused in getting that glorified A just to prove I am worth something. For 14 years, all I ever can do is play memories in my head of my Philippine mangoes, Simbangabi, and Noche Buena, the family I was forced to leave behind. So all I can do now is sing love songs. Dahil sa'yo, nais kong mabuhay. Because of you, I want to live. So I choose to soak in my strength, counter their hate with acceptance, elevate the voices of my people, protest, rally, stop deportation buses, and when I lose energy and courage, I replay the voices of my fellow warrior. They tell me, Akiko, remember, it is our duty to fight for our families, and while others will sit and watch, we will continue to take a stand. Akiko, remember, trust that your struggle will lead you to the path of self-determination, break down the borders of anger, hatred, and intolerance, because together it is possible. Thank you.
Good morning again. I'm going to share a piece with you called You Are Here. Abuelito did not like to see me crawling. A baby boy should not be reduced to moving around the floor como un perro. I must be carried. Carried in the arms of my mother, my tias, or my grandmother, arms that raised a generation, cooking, cleaning, sewing, and sowing seeds of never-ending strength in the innermost part of their children's souls. Abuelito reminded everyone everywhere that I am a man, un hombrecito, the firstborn grandson of the family. I should not cry. A man should show no emotion of pain or suffering, for my cries were weakness in his ears. A baby boy calling for attention, I should be giving what I wanted, and what I wanted the mujeres in my family should already know. Carry me, feed me, change me, Abuelito would say, for I should not cry. But for how long could the mujeres in my familia keep this brown boy from crying? For how long could they keep satisfying, Abuelito, every need to avoid disturbing society's views of masculinity? Abuelito, I am a man that cries, that feels and loves, a man that isn't afraid to hug other men or tell his grandmother just how much he loves her. Abuelito, I've cried a million times. I cried when I got into college. I cried during sleepless nights when I can't bear not being able to see my dad. When Tío Jaime passed, I felt the tears would never stop. I cried the first time you came to visit in this faraway land donde mil cicatrices me han marcado. Abuelito, I can't explain the emotions I feel when I feel the warm embrace of your body pressed tightly against mine, your stubble on my cheek, your tears rolling down your face. Abuelito, I can't explain what I feel when I hear the sound of your voice telling me how proud you are of the man that I've become. But suddenly every moment is here and now, scars open, wounds open, bleeding cries. Mijo, prepare your mother. Abuelito is resting now. The message from my aunt paralyzes me. I call her to confirm what I've just read. Abuelito has passed. Standing in the school auditorium, everything starts to fade away. Boys playing basketball, conversations and laughter, the sound of a piano, everything goes. Part of me knew this moment was coming, but I still held on to a thin thread of hope. Sitting on the couch in the staff room, time has no meaning, space has no meaning, everything goes. A coworker asks how I'm doing. I can't find my voice. The room shrinks as I mutter the words, my grandpa has passed away. I have to tell my mom. Vision blurs, tears breathe, tears I have to breathe. How do I tell my mother that her dad is no longer here? All I can see is her broken-hearted face telling me through sobs that she won't be able to see him again. Her words echo through my head as I build up the courage to stand up. It hurts me to know that she wasn't able to be with him in his last days. She wanted to go. A few weeks ago, when she found out that Grandpa was in the hospital because his cancer had spread, she was ready to go back to Mexico, ready to sacrifice 21 years of hard work in this country to be with him. This is a reality for millions of undocumented immigrants living in this country. And no one should have to choose between their livelihood and seeing a loved one one last time. Abuelito understood. He knew that if she left, she wouldn't be able to return. He told her not to go. But in his last moments, when he called the family together to say his goodbye, he was missing one. Mi madre, who was hard at work cleaning a house when Abuelito passed, couldn't be there, couldn't see him again, couldn't hug or kiss him goodbye. As the news settles in our heart, fantasy and reality become one, and I no longer know whether I'm dreaming or I'm awake. I can no longer tell whether I'm speaking or simply thinking. In the agony of mourning Abuelito from afar, all that's left to do is pray. Santa María, Madre de Dios, ruega, Señora, por él y por nosotros pecadores, ahora y en la hora de nuestra muerte. Amén. I feel you. You live inside of me. And every second of every day, I know, Abuelito, you are here. Although my eyes can't see you, I know you're here. Although my hands can't touch you, I know you're here. My heart feels your essence. I can feel your love. I see you. I see you when I stare into my mother's eyes, and every time I see myself in the mirror, I hear you. In my prayers, your wisdom. Abuelito, I can't explain the emotions I feel when I feel the warm embrace of your body pressed tightly against mine, your stubble on my cheek, your tears rolling down your face. Abuelito, I can't explain what I feel when I hear the sound of your voice telling us how proud you are of the family you left behind. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chantiri, and this piece was written for my sister who's in the audience. Where is she? Where did she go? She's right there. And I would like to take you on this ride of what it's like to cross the border when you're a 10-year-old. Look, there are a few things you should know. First, there are about 4 houses, 3 families, 5 coyotes, 5 cars from which you will be transitioning. There will be 20 mojados, many cucarachas in the elaborate chain of human smuggling. Second, there are no rules. You are safe at times. You are not most of the time. Allow me to emphasize on my previous statement. There are no rules. You will demonstrate in the border some Olympic winning skills at track and field, a la mojada. Magnificent execution at the long jump, extraordinary timing at the 100, 200, and 400 meter sprint event. Jump, run, jump, run, jump, run. Oops, a slide tripping over that rock. Get up, jump, run, jump. You will be an awarded first-class champion with chameleon skills blending with the scene. First you see me, now you don't. Blending among the piles of trash, the debris of an open wound between the land of the Disney castle and the home of our athletic role model, Speedy Gonzalez. You will forget about hunger. The fact that you have not had food for about 2 days will not get on the way of performing your athletic skills. You will feed and drink out of the fright. The adrenaline pumping through your veins will keep your body in perfect balance with the 80-degree Fahrenheit night. You will suddenly have the ability to be almost inexistent, 50 pounds lighter. That skill will be quite useful for when you try to fit 12 more bodies in the American CRV, the black one blasting Chalino corridos from Mexicali to the wall. Your eyes will gain superpowers. Vitamin A will kick in, and in the darkest night, from the back of your head, 2 little holes will develop retinas. All 4 eyes will have the ability to see and prevent you from stepping on the fastest moving rats and from being run over by the fastest moving cars. But if you could just slow down for a second, you would be able to see how you move with grace and fuse through the shadows, how your body is overwhelmed with the sweat and the smell of the dry Calexico desert, dancing with darkness, kissing the devil, tempting the danger. Whoa, 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 whoa. Too much for a 10-year-old girl. Slow down, cabrona. This girl is quite young. Don't be telling her about tempting danger. I apologize for being too graphic, for telling the truth that there are no rules. But you have to know that in the process of migration, you will become a woman, that your passage to adulthood will not be at your 15, nor with the first person who consents sex with you, but it will be with the wall, bricks, concrete. That in the process you will scrape your knees, sweat out the fear, run like a cockroach, and maybe even bleed. You will gain this so-called womanhood before you see little dots of blood in your underwear. That never again will you play with dolls. That your mind will open. It will be angry. It will want to question, why the fuck do things have to be this way? And when you get older, and when you can't sleep at night, this will be the question that will haunt you. It won't leave you alone. It will give you the reason to keep jumping, wall after wall, obstacle after obstacle. Jump, run, jump, run, jump, run. Thank you.
All right. It's time to get these workshops started, yeah? So I know we're running a little late, it's fine. All our presenters were informed. We should be back on schedule by lunchtime, so we should be able to figure it out here. I have some last minute logistics I will go through very, very quickly, so just please listen to me and pay attention. We have our first workshop session right now. Hopefully you all received the schedule ahead of time. We're able to make strategic decisions about where you want to go. Or where you want to send other colleagues to go to. Now, if the room is closed or full when you get there, you're free to search around for others. If all of them are full, then then this is the overflow workshop. So everyone will come back here. We have 2 workshop sessions, and then we have lunch, and then we'll have 2 more workshop sessions after that. During lunchtime, we'll have a phenomenal speaker, Cesar Cruz, who's going to come and join us and drop a little wisdom for us. And at the end, we're going to have our closing panel. So that's the end of today. Now, before I send you off, everyone's getting really anxious, I want to talk about our task for today. Now, we're living in an era right now where we have DACA, we live in a state where we have the California Dream Act, and there's tremendous amount of movement in so many institutions, in so many places. But the challenges in front of us are so great. And our hope is that as you continue to go through these workshops, as you continue to take these information, form connections, form bonds with the folks that you have here, the task we put in front of you is to continue to work and to elevate your work, to transform your communities, your schools, your organizations, your colleges, all of them. You're here because we fully believe each and every one of you individually has the power to transform your space, and collectively together, if we are all dedicated to transforming all of our spaces, then we transform our entire community. That is the task we have today. And I know it's a high one, I know it's a heavy one, but I guarantee you all of you are up for it. So with that, enjoy your workshops, and we'll see you again later.